Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Sally Burdett, live from Johannesburg. In your headlines this evening, drama in Cape Town as Patricia de Lille leaves office. 5 councilors hot on her heels, resigning from the DA, claiming racism.
Wonke umuntu uthukile ngayo yonke into enzekile and abantu nabo sabathukile for impilo zabo.
Fears that Philemon Ngwenya was killed because he spoke out about the failed dairy project, though police say there is no link at this stage. And a day after the finance minister stresses we must pay e-tolls, the Gauteng premier says they're not part of the future for the province. But let's start in the Free State. The people who were meant to benefit from the Estina dairy project are now fearing for their lives. This is after one of them, 53-year-old Philemon Ngwenya, was killed last week. Now, police are investigating a case of murder, but say there's no reason to believe at this stage that he was killed because he spoke out about the failed project. Michael Apple visited Ngwenya's heartbroken family and also spoke to a shaken community.
Last week, one of the most outspoken critics of government failure and the corruption surrounding the failed Estina dairy project was murdered. His feelings of betrayal and pain palpable in this January interview.
Sibone nje songena abanye abantu lapha sebasebenza sangazi ukuthi what is going on. Yabona ukuthi idairy isebenza ngendlela enjani ngokuthi kuzothathwa abanye bayiswele India bayotrainwa ukuthi na basebenze kanjani lapho singezi ukuthi kusho ukuthi sibe abantu abahlangene. After lokho azange sabizwa ne inhliziyo zezibhlungu kabi phezulu 2012 till manje 2018 azange sathola isinesenti asibizwa akunandaba nathi.
The police are cautioning the media and the community not to jump to conclusions or link his death to anyone who'd seek to silence criticism of the failed project. Are the intended beneficiaries of this project, are they nervous at the moment? Are they extra cautious at the moment?
They are also nervous. We are going to meet with them now just after 5. We and see what we can do, but the most of whom I spoke to, they are so nervous, they are scared even so.
Ngwenya's friends and fellow intended beneficiaries gathered to pay their respects, their faces unable to hide the pain, while so many unanswered questions remain about his death.
Well, the community, they are still in shock. So it is difficult. I don't know what I can say about that, but wonke umuntu uthukile ngayo yonke into enzekile and abantu nabo sabathukile for impilo zabo.
Philemon Ngwenya will be buried on Saturday. Michael Apple in Freda in the Free State.
There's more upheaval at the National Directorate of Public Prosecutions. The news this afternoon that President Cyril Ramaphosa has instituted inquiries into Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions Nomgcobo Jiba and Special Director of Public Prosecutions Lawrence Mrwebi. Now, he wants to probe their fitness to hold office. Both have been suspended on full pay pending the finalization of the inquiry. In July, the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned a High Court ruling striking the two from the role of advocates. They had been accused of misconduct in their handling of sensitive prosecutions, including that of former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli. Now, the presidency says Ramaphosa informed Jiba and Mrwebi of his decision to further look into the matter today. Tributes continue to pour in for hip-hop artist HP, who died yesterday. Now, we don't yet know how he died, but he was open about his battles with depression and having attempted suicide on a number of occasions. Today, fans were still processing the shocking news. Zikona Chona caught up with some of them.
We took to the streets of Johannesburg to speak to fans of HP.
It was amazing, man. I come from Rustenburg. I grew up like close. He used to have shows at the taxi rank right next to my high school. That's like the first, I knew him from back then, you know, so his music really shaped my teens, you know, like his music gave us hope and inspiration.
I think it's a huge loss to South Africa as a nation. I think he did a lot for Motswako music movement, young people. He's inspired a lot of people. He's an amazing talent, a legend. It's very sad.
What do you think summer's going to be like without Jabba?
Oh man, it's going to be a sad one. It's going to be a sad summer. The musician has been praised by fellow artists and South Africans at large for his contribution to the South African music industry. Meanwhile, at his home, his family continues to ask for privacy. They are not ready to release details surrounding his passing yet, and say they will communicate details about his memorial and his burial soon. Zikhona Chona, Johannesburg.
To Durban now, 11 suspects accused of attacking a mosque and planting explosive devices around Durban are applying for bail in the Verulam Magistrates Court. Our reporter Desan Thathia explains why the state believes the group is linked to ISIS, the militant Islamic group.
The state is saying that these men had two properties that were owned by accused number one in this case that were in a suburb in Reservoir Hills in Durban. And one of those properties was being used as a training facility, and it was there that they say investigators found ISIS flags, and they found a manual which describes how to make a bomb, and they also found certain articles that were written by ISIS. And in it, in one of these specific articles, it talks about financial jihad and how non-believers are supposed to be punished financially. And that, I think, then links to this extortion charge that they're facing. So the state says that it has a really strong case and solid evidence, including CCTV footage.
Well, in a few moments, we're going to be bringing you the dramatic developments in Cape Town. Of course, Patricia de Lille is no longer mayor of that city, but there's lots of drama. We will be giving you the very latest news in just a moment. But upcountry here in Gauteng, another mayor kept his job. The ANC's mayor of Ekurhuleni, Mzwandile Masina, says the DA was just wasting time trying to oust him in a no-confidence vote today. And here's the Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura.
Ekurhuleni is the best performing metro on account of the quality of life survey that has been conducted that demonstrates that over the past 2 years, the best performing metro in Gauteng province is Ekurhuleni municipality. The worst performing metro is Tshwane Metro, and if the DA was really serious about service delivery, they should be passing a motion of no confidence in their own mayor in Tshwane. So they are wasting our time.
Well, let's go down to Cape Town, where Patricia de Lille's farewell has plunged the city into chaos. 5 councillors, including the chief whip, have resigned from the DA in solidarity with the outgoing mayor. They're citing rampant racism within the party. The DA has dismissed these claims, and they're referring the report on de Lille to the police. Leanne Jansen has the story.
It was said to be her swan song, and there was no shortage of drama during Patricia de Lille's farewell speech. Cape Town's outgoing mayor took to the podium and didn't hold back.
And let me say it one more time. I have been fighting corruption all my life, and I will not allow anybody to smear my name. My name in this country has become synonymous with fighting corruption. And I will fight for my rights, and I will continue to do so to clear my name. I will not break, and I will not give in to this vehement, racist, bully attacks. Never.
De Lille has had to answer allegations contained in 2 leaked reports by law firm Bowman Gilfillan. Both reports were made available to councillors this month, but contain conflicting findings and recommendations. One exonerates de Lille from any wrongdoing or maladministration. The other recommends that criminal charges could or should be laid against her.
It is grossly unacceptable that councillors would leak information with malicious intent to injure my name. But this is nothing new. I have suffered vicious attacks to my good name for more than a year, and still people are trying and intend to destroy my good name.
De Lille had just stepped off the podium when this happened.
I cannot stand what is happening in this chambers. Therefore, I resign, Speaker, as the Chief Whip. I resign as a DA councillor, and I resign as a member of the Democratic Alliance. Thank you.
He wasn't alone. 4 others followed suit. All 5 cite attacks against de Lille, as well as racism within the party and what they call a blatant disregard for black and coloured people as the reasons for the resignations.
We must provide services, but we have the time to spend money on an investigation. And if it's not the right answer, we investigate it again. And if it's still not the right answer, we investigate it again. Until such time as we get the right answer. Whose money is being spent? And when you raise these issues in the party, you are being seen as, well, it's because she supports the mayor. No, it's not. I support the people out there. I live in Athlone.
The DA says it's not surprised by the resignations. In a statement, provincial leader Bonginkosi Madikizela has wished them well, saying they need all the luck they can get.
The caucus is not in any way disturbed. I think the only thing that we was quite concerned about, that when we're actually discussing and taking forward the fight of corruption, people tend to leave.
Several more resignations are expected as de Lille serves out her final days in office. This cannot bode well for the DA in the province, just a few months before the 2019 general elections. Leanne Jansen, Cape Town.
Now, the debate over e-tolls here in Gauteng continues to rage. Gauteng Premier David Makhura has spoken out today. But before we listen to him, let's just remember exactly what our finance minister said yesterday about paying our e-tolls. Take a listen.
If we want the road network to work, we must therefore pay our tolls.
Very clear message there. Well, today our reporter Aldrin Sampier asked the Gauteng Premier, who's been a well-known critic of e-tolls, what does he feel about what the finance minister said?
How are you going to convince the minister, though? How are you going to convince the finance minister?
The ANC Gauteng Province Conference resolution is that e-tolls are not part of the future of this province. We stand by that resolution.
Are you going to speak to the president?
We will do
Are you going to
everything.
speak to the president about it?
We have been engaging with the president on this matter, and we, as the ANC in this province, will continue to ensure that our conference resolution is implemented.
Confused? Me too. Stay with us on eNews. We've got all your international news still ahead on the program. And of course, we'll have all your money news with Matteo.
Well, local markets have recovered and the rand trading in positive territory.
Time to talk money now with Matteo. Now, yesterday you were telling us about the government debt, that it's getting closer to 60%, which is really problematic. Our finance minister had some very strong messages about that today. Tell us more.
Very simple, very frank. He's basically saying South Africa, as a banking customers to the world, is way over its debt limit. And if you check with the investment rating that we have with ratings agencies, it's already below investment grade, which means our interest rate of borrowing money is quite high. So he says if we don't fix the debt, then we'll find a situation where we have to go cap in hand to the likes of the IMF, and they control our finances. So he spoke out in Parliament saying this could be a grave situation for South Africa if we don't sort it out soon enough.
If we don't do anything about our situation, in the outer years, we are likely to face a debt to GDP ratio at or above 60% of GDP. Of GDP. When that happens, you are very close to having very serious conversations with the IMF. And they're going to come and take over the running of your finances through a heavy-handed structural adjustment program. And we don't want to be there.
Definitely not mincing his words there. It's happened to Greece before. It's also happening to Venezuela as we speak. The IMF taking over finances there as well because it's a bankrupt country. So he's saying we shouldn't find ourselves in that situation. Well,
real straight shooter. Yesterday the market slumped a little, the rand in particular, as he gave his speech, probably because of those tough messages he was delivering. How are the markets looking today?
Well, they digested a bit better on those news, recovering today with the oil share up close to more than 1.5%. Industrials also in the same territory with financials strong as the banks were in better value. In terms of mining shares, gold was down more than 0.5%, and platinum up 0.5%, while resources were also ending on positive territory. Price of gold now at $1,229 an ounce, and platinum was up marginally, with Brent crude keeping low at $76.58 a barrel. The rand was weaker earlier in the day, but only punching back now at 14.53 against the dollar, at 16.51 against the euro, firming up against the pound at 18.63.
Oh, wow. That's a slightly better news. Thank you very much, Mateo Khoribe. Let's take a look at international news. Yesterday, we brought you the story of a number of explosive devices sent to prominent Democrats in the United States, and also one of those explosive devices ended up at the CNN office as well. Today, Donald Trump has blamed the media for the anger in the United States. This after those devices were mailed to those various figures, the Clintons and former President Barack Obama among them. Speaking at a rally in Wisconsin, Trump says the media should tone down the way it reports.
As part of a larger national effort to bridge our divides and bring people together, the media also has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to stop the endless hostility and constant negative and oftentimes false attacks and stories. Have to do it. Have to do it.
Well, still ahead, we're going to go to Joel Guy, who's standing by at our weather centre for your live weather report. Let's get your weather news now. Good evening to you, Joel Guy. As we're on an easy cruise down to the weekend, the temperatures, I believe, are spiking.
Good evening, Sally. Yes, indeed, it's getting hotter and hotter across much of South Africa. But great news for the Cape Town area. We have been seeing a steady cooling, and it looks like tomorrow is going to be a cooler day for the mother city. In the meantime, tonight it's going to be fine and mild for much of South Africa, but another warm night is forecast for the western area, so it will be rather uncomfortable for these parts of the country, including around Cape Town. Then as we get into Friday morning, we could see a bit of fog and cloud creeping into the southwest coastline. And for the rest of the day, we again have another mostly sunny and hot day for much of South Africa. Things are going to cool down over the south coast as well as the Cape Peninsula, where temperatures in the mid to upper 20s are expected. It will stay very hot, however, over the westernmost parts of South Africa, where highs in the lower 40s are possible in places. Then in the evening, we will see quite a bit of cloud creeping into the south and east coast, and it will stay fine for much of the interior. Now, the Northern Cape will once again see sunny skies on Friday with sizzling hot afternoon temperatures pushing into the upper 30s around Appington and Prieska. In the Western Cape, it will also stay pretty hot for much of the interior. Vredendal shooting to 43. Cape Town will peak at around 29 degrees. We are expecting partly cloudy skies around Port Elizabeth, Port Alfred and East London, where highs in the mid to upper 20s are expected. The rest of the Eastern Cape will be mostly sunny and hot once again. A sunny and hot day is also forecast in KwaZulu-Natal, where highs in the lower to mid 30s are expected. We are also going to have similar weather across much of Mpumalanga, Mbombela, warming to around 34 degrees. Clear skies return to much of Limpopo, where highs in the lower to mid 30s are expected. We are going to see similar weather and temperatures across the northwest. Then in the Free State, temperatures are going to warm up further. Bloemfontein and Velkom peaking at 34 degrees. A hotter day is also forecast for Gauteng, Johannesburg, hitting the 30-degree mark on a Friday afternoon. Then just quickly looking ahead to the first day of the weekend, it's going to be sunny and hot for much of South Africa, just a bit of cloud along the Eastern Cape coastal areas. Then on Sunday, we have another hot day, just a bit of cloud in Gauteng and parts of the East Coast. That's all from me, Sally. Back to you.
Thank you very much. A scorching weekend for all those sporting events. Before we go, just a recap of your top story. Drama in Cape Town as Patricia de Lille leaves office. 5 councillors hot on her heels, resigning from the DA, claiming racism. From me and the team, it's a very good night.